She call me Mr. Boombastic, tell me fantastic. Touch me on me back, she says I'm Mr. Romantic. Call me fantastic, touch me on me back, she says I'm Mr. Smooth.
Hello and welcome. I'm Anand Naidu, filling in for Riz Khan. He writes, sings and shakes to what many consider to be adult content, yet his music is never given a parental warning label. Mr. Boombastic, Mr. Lover Lover, also known as Shaggy, has just released his new album. In it, he takes on social issues and hypocrites to dancehall beats. It's titled Intoxication. Let's take a look.
If you take this too serious, then you really need some church.
Well, Shaggy, congratulations on that album. Shaggy joins us there from London. Welcome to the program. Intoxication.
Thank you, man.
Hi there. Intoxication is the latest album. Now, you've called it one of your most important CDs. Why?
Well, I think it's more important, very important one, because of the fact that, for one, we're doing this on an independent label, and I think for the first time we have full creative control. It's a type of album where, you know, from the artwork to the track listing to every producer and just every concept on it is basically, I'm pretty much hands-on. You know, it's not as much compromise as the previous ones.
When you say you have full creative control, do record labels, record companies, do you find them normally very constricting?
Well, I mean, you know, normally with a record company, you know, they're the ones that's paying for the marketing and the promotion and everything like that. So obviously, they're going to want to have a say on the type of material that you put out. If I put out a song, if I want to go a certain direction with a certain particular single, they might not be seeing in the same direction where I'm at. You know what I mean? And they're pretty much paying the cost to be the boss.
Now, in terms of content, is this latest album, Intoxication, is it very different from the others? Because I've read that there is a character which is at the center of most of your songs, a character who is very highly opinionated or has a high opinion of himself and often gets into trouble with women. Is this one different?
Well, I mean, we always talk about women and all these on almost every album. You know, one thing I talk about a lot is relationship. I really don't get too political or too religious on any of these albums, because, you know, I just think everybody has their own political agenda and everybody has their own religious beliefs. As far as relationships are concerned, everyone has a relationship at some point, and there's so many different types of relationship and so many different stories and different angles that you can take it that can be pretty much takes it home. You know what I mean? Certainly everyone can relate.
Now, going back to how this all began, your family emigrated to the United States from Jamaica. You joined the U.S. military. How did you break into music?
Well, you know, I'm from Jamaica, so it's really in my blood. You know, I mean, I remember sneaking out of you know, my house as a kid, going to Skateland in Half-Way to, you know, watch Yellowman perform. And I mean, you know, I've just been a music lover from a child, and then coming to New York, which is more or less you know, a big melting pot. You know, I mean, we got into music even more as a young kid. That's, you know, I used to save all my lunch money and pretty much buy records. You know, I mean, 7 inches coming out of Jamaica.
Now, you joined the Marines shortly after you arrived in America. As I had mentioned, you actually were one of the Marines that was sent to Iraq, Operation Desert Storm. Tell us about that experience.
Well, I mean, I think in the military is where I actually did most of my growing up. You know, certainly that's where I got my discipline to really, you know, tackle this music business. I must point out, I think that music business is probably the hardest job I've ever had. But just being in the military within itself was an eye opener. You know, I mean, that whole experience in the first Gulf War, you know, certainly make you appreciate life.
You know, you may have answered part of this email that we received from one of our viewers. It's from Glenn, who is in Virginia, here in the United States, and his question is, Shaggy, you served in the Marines. Do you have any regrets about joining? And what is your opinion of the current Iraq war? Do you have any friends serving? Several questions there. Let me start
Yeah,
with the
well,
first
I
one.
mean, I don't have any regret. I don't have any regrets serving. You know, as far as my as far as the current state, and you know, it still stands from even the previous one. You know, I think, you know, I still think it was wrong. I still, you know, I think it's about time to send these boys home. You know, I do a lot of work for USO. I remember we played in Bosnia. The last thing we did was in Germany, and we did a concert for a couple of a couple of the troops, and you know, it was a bittersweet type of a concert because of one, yeah, they knew every song and they were singing along to it, but you know, you couldn't help but notice that, you know, a couple of them were missing a couple of limbs here and there, you know what I mean? So it was a bittersweet type of a concert, and it makes you realize the severity of the situation over there in Iraq. And you know, I'm just hoping and praying that these guys go home, you know, and you know, send them home, you know, especially this Christmas. It would have been nice to see them home for Christmas.
You know, I want to play a little clip here, and this is a clip from a movie, Fahrenheit 9/11, in which your name was used as a recruitment tool. Let's have a look at the clip first.
A little career in music or something.
Career music. Maybe we can get you a career in music, you know, let the Marines go for it. I'm sure you know who Shaggy is, right?
Yeah.
You know anything about him?
Yeah, he the Jamaican
Yeah? How about a former Marine?
Oh.
Did you know it? You definitely need to know discipline if you're going to get into music.
Yeah, I understand.
Especially discipline with the money. When you make $1 million, you need to manage that money. So come in the office, we can sit down and talk.
How do you feel about your name being used there as a recruitment tool?
Oh, I find it hilarious, and I actually did see that. It's kind of funny that they used me because I was not your typical model Marine. You know, I came out of PFC, so I got into trouble a lot while I was in there. So it's kind of funny that it would use me, a guy who got into this much trouble, was AWOL, you know, came out of PFC, and actually got an honorable discharge, but also with a disclaimer saying I cannot join any more armed forces. I just find it hilarious. Yeah.
Do you agree with those who say that U.S. military recruiters target black youth disproportionately?
I just think they target any youth, period. You know, I don't think it's just black alone. You know, they'll do anything to fill a quota.
You know, look, getting back to your music, the protest music of the 60s and the 70s was folk music, and it was John Baez and Bob Dylan. Is the protest music of this age, this era, is it hip-hop and rap?
Well, I mean, hip-hop and reggae, you know, I mean, certainly they're the CNN of the ghetto. You know what I mean? They're definitely the eyes and ears of the streets, and they say whatever it is they have to say within the music. You know what I mean? So it saddens me when sometimes people try to censor that, you know, because they're basically telling you what really goes on within the streets.
You know, there is an article in Foreign Policy magazine, of all places, and the basic storyline in that article is that rap is a form of resistance against authority, and it's turning into a global phenomenon. You don't just find it in the United States, you find it throughout the world, from China through Africa, through countries in South America, etc. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't think it's the type of music that just it don't just sit there and tell everybody, you know, just to rebel, you know. But it certainly puts a lot of things into perspective for a lot of the youth. You know what I mean? I think it's a type of music that actually promotes, you know, it promotes, you know, going out there and getting yours, getting money. You know what I mean? I remember Biggie Smalls has this thing is that the only way you can make is unless you have a wicked jump shot. You know what I mean? Either you rap or have a wicked jump shot. That's the only way you get out of the ghetto. Pretty much, he was saying then that there is much opportunities, you know, that is out there for inner city kids. You know what I mean? So you know, you might do that within music, or you might do it within sports. You know what I mean? That's probably the only two avenues for a lot of these kids. You know what I mean? Because even if the kids go ahead and they you know, they finish college and they probably get into a community college here and there, you know, by the time they go in the corporate world, you're gonna get that sort of resistance. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things going on. There's certainly racism is alive and well in America. You know what I mean? And for an inner city kids, an inner city kid to make it is certainly going to be a struggle.
When you talk about having creative freedom like you have had on your latest CD, what does it take to get to that stage, you know, the stage at which you are at right now? Is there some process you have to go through, some dues-paying process?
Well, it takes sacrifice, and the sacrifice we've made this time is basically to leave the major label. In leaving the major label, one, you're going to have to be spending your own money. You know what I mean? That can get very expensive. You know what I mean? You're talking about marketing an album on a worldwide scale. You're talking about in every single country, you're going to have probably marketing and promotion people on retainer. You know what I mean? That can get very expensive. If you're not the type of person that has that kind of money to fund such a project, you're going to be losing. So that is that's the main sacrifice you're going to have to make if you want to call all the shots.
You know, I want to go to another email now. This is from Jose in Illinois, here in the United States. And Jose writes, as a great songwriter, what inspires you to write a song? Is it a quote from a friend, something you have seen, a bad joke?
It could be all of the above. I've certainly been inspired just from a joke. It wasn't me, it was a joke that I saw from an Eddie Murphy movie. It could be just from an idea. It could be something that comes up from just the song, the music itself. The music itself could just inspire a certain vibe, and you kind of just go with it. My whole thing is just, you know, when time to get it done, I just go ahead and get it done.
You know, looking at the music industry, there are many who complain about the music industry, saying, like, you know, you were pointing out earlier on, that you know, you're constrained by people in the music industry. But many people would kill to be in your shoes. What's so bad about that?
Well, I mean, you know, it's always good to have a job. You know what I mean? Bottom line is this: if a young artist is coming out right now and they get a deal, you know, yeah, you might have an A&R who's calling every shot, and A&R who's getting other writers and having them do it. Bottom line is, you know, what do they have to lose? They didn't come into it with anything. You know what I mean? They're pretty much just getting a free ride. So yeah, you know, they literally they got put on by really offering nothing but just their talent. That's not a bad situation at all. You know what I mean? As you go into it and get bigger, you know what I mean, there might be directions creatively that you might want to go. And you have to make that decision at that point, whether you want to follow what they're doing or go with something that you're going. And it's not bad. If they're doing something and it's working for you, by all means. In my situation, what they were trying to do for me wasn't working. You know what I mean? If it worked, no big deal.
Tell us about the live music situation. You are currently in the middle of a tour, as I understand it.
I'm actually in the middle of promotion. I'm going to do solid live touring next year. I think the touring market is open right now. I think that's where music is going back to, live performances, and that's certainly something we're looking forward to.
And where is that tour going to take you?
It's going to take me throughout Europe first. I think I start in Brussels next year, early next year, and it should take us throughout majority of Europe all the way down throughout the year.
And will there be a tour in the United States as well?
We're certainly looking forward to do a U.S. tour. That all depends on you know, how well we do as far as the success of our next single. You know, we have another single coming out within the top of the year with Akon, a song called "What's Love," and you know, we're going to market and promote it and give it our full support.
Well, talking about Akon, we have an email from Jennifer from Michigan in the United States, and she asks, what was it like working with Akon? He's been in a bit of trouble lately, but then again, you seem to enjoy life. Did the two of you get into trouble together?
Yeah, I mean, you know, with a guy like that, you know, they're gonna go at him. You know, when the thing with Akon, the minute that he's on that level, you know, you're on that level where, you know, mainstream white kids are gonna start listening to your music. You know what I mean? You know, you're gonna be under a lot more scrutiny. If he did what he did and wasn't as popular, you know what I mean, just the streets was listening to him, then he would have gotten away with it. You know, it wouldn't be a problem. You know what I mean? He's just gonna be a guy under a lot more scrutiny once you start becoming a pop phenomenon. You know, the trouble that he's gotten over the years, part of it was, you know, he's gotten a bad rap, especially, you know, the thing that happened in the Caribbean. I think that was blown totally out of proportion. And but I think he'll get through all of this. You know, I mean, he's a good guy. He's a brilliant guy. You know, I mean, the music he's making is credible, and people are still buying his music. You know, I mean, so I think he'll be fine.
You talk about the Caribbean. You know, Jamaica continues to produce a huge number of artists. You know, great musical talent coming out of Jamaica, compared to its size and its population. Why do you think that is the case?
Yeah. Oh, there's a certain amount of soul within that country. I mean, it's to this day, it's the only place that 7 days a week, 7 days a week, you could pretty much go to a stage show or a party. It's just rich in culture. It's the only island in the Caribbean that has reggae as its native music, but yet still, it's the most dominant throughout the Caribbean. You know, in every other country, reggae is the dominant music. I call it, reggae music is a minority music with a majority sound. You know what I mean? And it's just the spirit of the people. You know what I mean? It's just got a really rich musical heritage.
Looking again at your latest CD, Intoxication, what's your favorite track on that?
My favorite track is a track called Woman Scorn.
And why is it your favorite?
Well, I just think it's a very real kind of a record, and it basically talks about a man waking up in the morning with a woman sitting over him, his woman sitting over him with a gun in his face, giving him an ultimatum, you know what I mean? And he's pretty much begging for his life, you know what I mean? You'd have to listen to the song to see whether or not he survives.
Okay, and what's on your plans as far as the next CD?
I'm not really thinking about the next CD right now. Whenever it's time to make a record, making the music is the easiest part. The best thing right now is that we're free. We're free creatively. We're free to basically market and promote the music the way we want to market and promote the music. And all is well. I mean, we're doing very well. We did very well with Church Eden. We're doing very well right now with Bonafide Girl throughout Europe and the UK. And we're getting ready to launch What's Love with Akon. So yeah, all is well. The next CD all depends on how quick we get this one to the top of the charts.
Well, Shaggy, thank you very much. Good luck with the tour,
Pleasure.
with the music. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for being with us. Don't forget, if you have any thoughts about pressing issues around the world, send your emails to riz@aljazeera.net. See you next time. Street Talk is next.